According to a BBC article today, the UK Watchdog are looking into some of the new features as part of Copilot Plus PC. Now, I think it's really important that we have a quick look at this and go into what it is doing. As it says here, the UK Data Watchdog said it is making inquiries with Microsoft over a new feature that takes screenshots of your laptop every few seconds. Now, I think what's really important is we look at what this feature is, the hardware dependencies, bearing in mind, as of this moment in time, you cannot buy these features. You cannot get this feature. You cannot get this hardware. So that's coming in the next kind of month or two. So it's very specific way that this gets enabled, turned on, hardware. So in this video, we're going to go through the privacy, the configuration, how you can turn it off, what does it mean for you, but also some other best practices that actually maybe you should be having on your PC that are really super important from a privacy point of view. So let's get stuck in. Windows Recall is a new feature built into these new style of PCs known as Copilot Plus PCs. These are the new PCs that come with these NPU chips. You get a normal CPU, you get a GPU, a graphics chips, and now you get this neuro processor which can do trillions of actions a second. They are incredibly powerful, and you can run AI models on them on that local device. So imagine your laptop with an extra chips in it, and this is where you can actually run these ultra fast processing things that can run at the same time. This is what AI runs on. So Microsoft have gone back to the whiteboard and they've gone, you know what, we've got Windows 11, it runs great with a CPU and a GPU. What kind of things could we build on top of NPUs and take advantage of this kind of thing that we can run locally rather than having to send it to a Microsoft data center, an Adobe one, Google's, or wherever it may well be. We can run it locally. It actually means we have more control. We have the ability to keep it all on the endpoint on that individual device. And that's exactly what one of these first applications that Microsoft has shown, called Windows Recall, will do. It will run everything locally on the machine and will not send it to the cloud. So that's a really important thing that I'm going to come back to a few times. It runs locally on that device. Adobe are building different applications, so things like their Photoshop and their Premiere can run more locally on the machine, and so it actually runs more environmentally. It's more sustainable to be able to run it locally on the machine rather than sending it to the cloud, relying on an internet connection. And these small large language models, if you think of the things like ChatGPT is a large language model, the smaller language model and other AI features are built directly into the machine to be able to make sure that everything stays local and supports. What I'm going to show you now is some of the actual Q&A that actually comes out from Microsoft around what does Copilot Plus and how does this recall feature work inside of the Windows Copilot Plus PCs. Important. This is in the Copilot Plus PCs. It's not going to work in normal Windows machines. You have to have this NPU chip for this to work. Let's take a look. So this is on the Microsoft website, and this is more about their Copilot Plus PCs. It's down at their frequently asked questions, and there's a section in here all about recall. So let me kind of just tell you what Microsoft are saying what recall is. So you can use recall on Copilot Plus PCs to find the content that you have viewed on your device. Recall is currently in preview status. During this phase, we will collect customer feedback, develop more controls for enterprise customers to manage and govern recall data, and improve the overall experience for users. On devices that are not powered by Snapdragon processors, installation of Windows updates will be required to run recall. So nobody's got this yet. It's looking in a private preview to make this happen. Recall is currently optimized for selected languages, including English, Chinese, French, German, Japanese, and Spanish. This means that it's able to retrieve snapshots from your PC's timeline based on more sophisticated search in those languages. During the previous phase, we will enhance optimization for additional languages. Recall can also retrieve snapshots from your PC's timeline based on text-to-text search in more than 160 languages. So we've got a bit of an understanding what it is. So it's taking, and what it's saying here, it's taking snapshots of our machine and it's understanding, it's using that AI to be able to go off and understand what's within that screenshot. So how does this work? Recall uses Copilot Plus advanced processing capabilities. There you go. That's that AI, that MPU that I was talking about, to take images of your active screen every few seconds. The snapshots are encrypted and saved on your PC's hard drive. You can use Recall to locate the content you have viewed on your PC using search or on a timeline bar that allows you to scroll through your snapshots. So imagine it almost like as a timeline, a bit of a Gantt chart of these are the screenshots that actually have been taken and where you were and what you were doing at a particular time and a date to be able to see what's in there. I think what's really important here is that it's encrypted and it's saved on the local machine, all built into Copilot. I'm going to jump down just a little bit. Recall will also enable you to open the snapshots in the original application, which it was created, and as a recall, it refined over time. It will help an actual source documents, websites, or emails in a screenshot. This functionality will be improved during the recall. So we're still in the early phases. They're still improving it. They're learning about it themselves, and they're adding more to it. And there's some minimum requirements there as well. What are the privacy controls does Recall offer? And I think this is the important thing that we need to start going through. Recall is a key part of what makes Copilot Plus special, and Microsoft's built-in privacy into Recall design from the ground up. So they really have considered this privacy from the start. On Copilot Plus PCs, powered by a Snapdragon X processor, you will see the Recall taskbar icon after you first activate your device. You can use that icon and open Recall settings and make choices about how snapshot recalls collect and store on your device. So it sounds like the first thing is you've actually got to enable these things and configure these things for yourself first. You can limit which snapshots Recall collects. For example, you can select specific applications or websites visited in a supported browser or filter out of your snapshots. So it sounds like there's a bit like a white glove approach as well as a black glove. If you want it all in, you can do that, or if you just want to be able to select certain ones, you can do. In addition, you can pause snapshots on demand from your Recall icon in the system trays, clear some or all snapshots that have been stored or deleted, or delete all the snapshots from your device. It needs to be on your device. Keep saying it, don't they? Recall also does not take snapshots of certain kind of content, including in private web browsing sessions in Windows Edge. It treats material protected with digital rights management, DRM simply. Like other Windows applications such as Snipping Tool, Recall will not store DRM content. So are your applications built with digital rights management? Something to bear in mind. There are lots of features you get inside of the enterprise space that support this kind of configuration. Last note. Note that Recall does not perform content moderation. It will not hide information such as passwords and financial account numbers. That data may be in snapshots that are stored on your device, especially when the sites do not follow standard internet protocols like cloaking password entries. Now, this is the thing. Lots of websites do not store things in the way that they should do. And Microsoft's saying is like, well, we can support it if they've done it right. If they're storing things and that website is built properly, we can guarantee that we can do that from point of view. But the way I'm reading that is if that website is not built according to internet standards and those internet protocols, those passwords could be shown. If a website is asking you to put a password in clear text, of course it's going to see it as clear text rather than a password box. So really important from that point of view. How is your data protected? I think this is the key one. And then we can kind of move on and talk about some of these other settings that I've read about. Recall snapshots are kept on Copilot Plus PCs themselves on the local hard drive and are protected using data encryption on your device. And if you have a Windows 11 Pro PC or Enterprise, this is in BitLocker. It's really important. BitLocker is a great kind of encryption tool that we should be having on our devices anyway. Recall snapshots are only linked to a specific user profile. So if we're doing multiple profiles, great, because it only stays within the dad account, the mum account. The kids can't use it because they've got their own accounts, and does not share them with other users. Makes them available for Windows, make them available to Microsoft to view, or use them to target advertising. So let's just read that whole sentence out. Recall snapshots are only linked to specific users, and Recall does not share them with other users, make them available to Microsoft to view, or use them to target advertisements. So we're saying we're not going to get adverts through here. We're not going to share it with other users. It's not going to be shared with Microsoft. Screenshots are only available to the person whose profile was used to sign into that device. If two people share a device with different profiles, they will not be able to see each other's screenshots. If they use the same profile to sign into the device, then they will see share of screenshot history. Makes sense, really. You don't know who's sat behind the computer. Otherwise, recall screenshots are not available to other users or accessed by other applications or services. So Microsoft have put a lot of encryption and policies around this to ensure that other people aren't taking advantage of it. So in summary, it's all about it running on the local machine. These small language models, SLMs that run on the chipset that comes as part of a Copilot Plus PC is what runs all the AI, takes the screenshots that have been done, understand what's in there, what's a picture, it's a red car, it's somebody in a dress, the text maybe that's been there, and it's all stored locally on that machine. It's not being sent to Microsoft. They're saying that. This is all part of the agreements that they're putting out there. So from this privacy point of view, it's locked on your machine the same way that you can store files on your local machine and other people can't get them. They're recommending things like encryption to make sure the device is encrypted. Again, super important that you should be doing on your own devices, whether they are personal devices or corporate devices. One of the things that interesting they do call out, and I think is a best practice here, is that they're going, well, actually, if two people are using the same profile logged onto that machine, they're going to see each other's screenshots. Well, of course they would do. The computer doesn't know the difference between who is logged on and who is not. If you're an adult and you've got a child using the machine, they should have a child's profile. We see with lots of internet service providers, they're now offering different Wi-Fi configurations, and you can put different filters and web filters on different age for students and for kids. We should be doing the same within our different devices. And I'm not going to say that's just Microsoft, that is other devices as well. And that is super important for something that we should be going off and doing. Part of it, have a profile for dad, have one for child, have one for whatever it may well be. Turn off certain features. There are certain parts of large language models and AI solutions that are not appropriate for students or pupils unless they're the age of 18 and above. I see that a lot in the education space. It should be the same for we shouldn't keep people on social media from the age of 13 and above because of the impacts it can have on student health and pupil health and well-being and kids' well-being. It's exactly the same when it comes to things like this. These features may well not be enabled automatically for kids. We have to see what kind it is. You can turn it off on a per profile basis. And I think that's another thing to note here. And what I really like is that when you turn this feature on, when you create a new profile, you're asked, how do you want the behavior for this AI to be able to work for you? And I think that's really important. It asks you, it doesn't assume, it doesn't go off and do. And I think I like what the UK Watchdog is saying here is we want to understand this a little bit more. I want to understand this a little bit more. Hopefully this is giving you a bit more of an insight as well. Super important, you can also turn it off. Full stop, just turned off. And I can also have certain privileges of applications that actually follow this data protection to not be able to go off and follow and take screenshots and DA information from an enterprise point of view. Bank account details, banks, all that kind of side of things. I don't know if there's one out there. It would be great to know actually if there's a website that shows these are good banking websites and these ones are not, because they don't show that information on the screen, or they do show it on the screen, but it's built and coded in a way so these screenshots don't include this information. Also, don't forget your internet history is probably being saved on your computer. If you're using something like Google Chrome and you're logged in with your account, that history goes between machine and machine, which means it's stored in Google's cloud. So actually this data is already in other places, and do we need to do more around our own privacy and security of our data? All Microsoft are doing is saying, we're going to keep it on this individual device. If you don't like it, if you don't like that application, you can turn it off. Or if you don't like this feature at all, you can turn it off. And that's really good. The fact that we have the power and the control to be able to do it. So privacy, have it on, off, change the applications. It's going to follow certain data protection applications and features that I've already built there as well. You can go off and you can add and you can remove. You can say, I only want this application and everything else is blocked, or block everything. allow everything or block this at one application. It's completely up to you that you want to be able to do this. It's run on that local machine, and Microsoft are saying we won't take this data anywhere else to be able to understand things, be able to understand what you are doing. How secure is your individual device? That's one of my best practice moments here. What are you doing to secure the device? Have you got a good effective password? Do other people know your password? That's an important aspect. Have you actually got people using your same profile? Should they be using your own profile? Actually, if you've got an opportunity here to do some education to be able to show your kids that actually this is what the kind of configuration there should be, the applications, the websites that they should be able to go off and do. So it's really super important that you look at these different aspects, and remember, privacy is privacy. It's not just because we've got this Windows recall now just doing screenshots and helping us from an AI point of view. If you look at the feedback, a lot of people are saying that they really like this recall feature. I'll probably keep it enabled to be able to go off and see and all that kind of side of things, and I'll let my workplace decide whether it's something I'm allowed to use internally because of those data protection and what things can do, how secure is it on those kind of machines. Don't forget encryption is key. Another thing I'll also say, don't forget, if you've got MFA, you've got multi-form authentication into your bank, you should have it for your social medias as well. Have it for your devices. Your device data is just as important. Just because it takes a screenshot of your Word document that you're working on doesn't mean that actually you still got the Word document. Something to remember as well. So if you found this information useful, let me know if you think you're going to use Windows Recall if you get one of these special types of devices. Remember, you've got to have this Copilot Plus PC to make this work. But until then, I'll see you again on the Value Add soon.